Hello and welcome. So I'm going to take a look at the Guardian's Quick Cryptic crossword, and this is being published on Saturday the 18th of October 2025, and our setter is Pasquale. Now last week we had a puzzle from Pasquale that was mistakenly uploaded that was a repeat of number 65, so hopefully I'm hoping this has got a different grid. I'm fairly sure it's different grid to last week's, and it isn't another mistake. As ever, these are the beginner crosswords, so we get 11 by 11 grid, smaller grid, and just 4 clue types. Today we have anagrams, charades, which is where you take multiple components, 2 or 3 or even 4 parts of other words to make a new word, double definitions, and insertions, which is where you add a letter into one word to get a new word. And I have to say that those are not some of the double definitions can be tough, insertions are generally quite tough, and charades can be a little bit tough, so this could be a little bit of a tough puzzle. As ever, I talk it through slowly, explain how I see each clue, and try and give some tips and tactics on how to solve. So I think that's probably enough of me chatting on. And just check my recording's okay, and we'll go then. Right, one across, 4 letters. Box, I think, when I see box, I think maybe sparring, or maybe a crate or a chest, with spring beginning to rust. Okay, yep, so beginning to rust thinks, there's an R on the end of this. And I just said spar is a word for box, and a spar is also a spring, a health spa. Originally used to have springs of water there, didn't they? So that's one across, I think, successfully navigated. Four across, 4 letters. Heap of things I left in gym. Now I would think that's put an L into a word for gym. Gym is quite often PE, and I left. If I put PE and now I put I and L for left, I get pile, and a heap of things is a pile. L for left is a valid abbreviation because you see it day to day. You can only have abbreviations for things that are exist in the real world, shall we say. Whereas with beginning to rust, the set is rust for R for rust isn't a valid abbreviation as far as I know. You won't see that anywhere in the world. So the set is out to say beginning to rust to get the R from that. Right, on to 7 across. Editing. Something done by socialist. So socialist makes me think red. 9 letters. There's nothing in that. There's no 9. Something is a 9-letter word. Could be an anagram of that. I don't think so. They're done by socialist. Socialist. I think it's probably a red. So I'm going to put red on the end of that. Editing. Although I'd expect an editing clue to end in an ing, so I'm not so sure about that. Let's go to 8 across, 4 letters. Sea, girt, land. What? Sea girt? I've got no idea what that means. You may or may not. Land is left, half abandoned. Half abandoned normally suggests get rid of half of this word next to it, so that might be the LE or the FT, and I'm thinking actually if I put the LE there, I've actually got a very helpful is in the clue there, so maybe a sea-girt land is an isle. I don't know for certain, but I think that's probably what the clue is doing. Left half abandoned could have been the FT, but I just went the LE because I could see the isle bit that I could put next to isle and make it that. 9 across, 6 letters. Lives. Lives makes me think lives or lives, so lives. With Dean by Cathedral City. Now, when I first started doing the crossword 3 or 4 years ago, the Cathedral City that seemed to come up a lot was Ely. I think it's Ely in Cambridgeshire. It's very popular because it's useful for those kind of letters. But what lives or lives? Because although the clue reads as lives with Dean, it could be lives. Not sure. So I've got a red there and an Ely there. That may or may not be correct. That's gone to 10 across, 6 letters. Witty remarks in breaks. 6 breaks is 6 letters, but I don't think there's an anagram indicator there. Remarks and witty are 5 and 7, so they aren't anagrams. Witty remarks are quips. Breaks are rests. Remarks, comments. we've got remarks and breaks both ending in S, so I think that probably has an S at the end of it, but it may not be. That's my first thought. 13 across. Boundary for cricket team. Well, the boundary, yeah, if you score a boundary, you score 4. It could be the edge. I wonder if it's rope. Yeah, most of the boundaries are a rope, aren't they, around a cricket pitch? Could that be likely for cricket team? Cricket team is 11 players. I don't know. Cricket team be referring to the insect. Can't think of a team of insects. So, no, not sure. Okay, 14, 9 letters. Well, not knowing, bliss. Okay, I think this is a double definition, and that question mark is helping us get to the fact that ignorance is bliss, and ignorance is not knowing. So, yeah, so okay, bliss question mark is saying, ignorance is bliss, and not knowing is ignorance for certain. So, wow, that's a little bit of a toughie. That'll test some people. I think maybe with some checkers in there, people will get to that. Right, 15 across. A good editor, no longer young. Well, if I see A in a club, I think maybe there's an A there. G for good, and I've got to editor. And editor is almost always editor is always ed, and aged is no longer young. So that's an example of a 3-part charade. On to 16, 4 letters. Dull. Doctor. Doctor can be an M, can be abbreviated to DR, GP, MO, and MB. Can also be an anagram indicator. Dull has 4 letters. Off the top of my head, I can't think of an anagram of dull that would meet anything. Doctor MOMB meeting a bishop. A bishop would normally be could be a B. Well, B for bishop. Could be a doctor of divinity. It could be a right reverend. But I think it would be a B. And Pasquale is very precise in his cluing, so that A probably does have a purpose of an A there. And Doctor, I did say DR, so excuse me, can't type today. Drab is dull, so got there slowly but surely. Let's have a look at the downs. So we've got P, E with some letters missing. 2 down, P something E. Minister, the old man. So the old man is normally par. And we've got a P there, so PA. And then we've got in the clue, beginning to direct is a D, and then religious education is RE, which is a standard abbreviation for religious education. Now you could say the beginning to applies to that anyway, but yeah, padre. A padre is a minister. The old man is par, beginning to direct is D, and then I think you can say RE is the religious education abbreviation. It doesn't really matter, you got to the answer there. 3 down. Celebrity, normally think of a star. We've got 5 letters beginning with an R though, so star. In the middle of Little Road, Little Road is an RD, which makes me think put RD there. I can't type. Went quickly. Well, okay, my brain's gone. If it's a went quickly, it's a past tense, puts an E in there. And a celebrity, well, I've gone raced. Raced is went quickly, and an ace is a celebrity, I suppose. So yeah, raced. Middle of Little Road. So Little Road is abbreviated to RD. Middle of, just put ace into it. That's your containment indicator. Right, 4 down. P something. P maybe R something. Lions. I'm thinking PR would be pride, so maybe this red is wrong. Asleep finally. Final letter of sleep is a P, and a journey is a ride. So yeah, that's pride, isn't it? So it's time to get rid of that. Let's go on to 5 down. What's that? 10 letters, and I'm looking at I've got an L to start the clue, and lads has got an L on it, and that's 4 letters, and denial is 6, so that's 10 letters in total. Set out could be an anagram indicator. Letters could be to do with the post, but quite often it's to do with letting things, i.e. landlords. It's not landlords, but it is landladies, I think, isn't it? Landladies. I don't spell that. There we are. Landladies. So that's an anagram. Set out your anagram indicator. And letters in terms of people who let out things. Bad pardon. Right, I've got an ing there. There's, as far as I can remember, there's no word that fits with an I without an ing. There's apart from Blitzkrieg. So you've got a very specific puzzle to have. Anytime you see ig, you should be able to put an n in there, unless it's Blitzkrieg as the answer, and you'll know that pretty quickly whether it is or not. So, okay, what do we got? So lots of letters, 10 letters, S-I-N-G. Keeping quiet. Quiet is normally either sh or P for piano, means play quietly, and piano in musical notation means play quietly, which can be abbreviated to P. Quiet, keeping quiet, holding back. Gosh, what is that? I'm not sure, but I'm just looking at this thinking I said there was a red in that clue. Editing and something done by a socialist. If that's red, my brain's filled in the letter and gone redaction, and redaction is editing. So yeah, something done is an action, and it's beside red. Now by doesn't necessarily mean it has to be in the order of the clue, because it's still beside it. Let's just knock this one off hopefully. Lives with Dean by Cathedral City. Lives or lives? Dean. I can't think of what word that would be. I'm not sure that is Ely, therefore. Dwells. Okay, D for Dean, and the city of Wells has a cathedral. Gosh, and to live somewhere, live somewhere is to dwell, so therefore the plural of lives is dwells. Gosh, good luck on your cathedral cities there. The thing about Pasquale is he does like to throw in a religious clue. Let's have a look at this one. Keeping quiet, holding back. So I think that's probably P for quiet, and then holding back is, and keeping is presenting, resenting, keep holding back, resenting, presenting, keeping, presenting. Not sure about that. Okay, let's go to what we've got next on the downs. 11 down, 5 letters, N something D. That's probably going to be an E. Ned. Beaten. Getting dance wrong. Well, dance has got the N and the D. It's 5 letters, so it's an anagram, isn't it? Which is caned. Okay, caned, a good word there for getting beaten. We got caned today at football. Not sure anyone ever said that. There we go. Right, 12, maybe an S. That was a potential S, wasn't it? Something R, something D, so that's probably an E again. Rag, right in middle of hut. Okay, well, right is an R for right, that's okay. In the middle of a hut is a shed. So yeah, a shred is a rag, isn't it? A rag of something. So yeah, there we go. Right, last of the downs that I haven't looked at. 13 down, something N, something A. Social worker. That's normally an ant. South Africa, it normally gets abbreviated to SA. And if I put that together, who makes seasonal visits? Well, if I put the ant into SA, I've got Santa, as in Santa Claus. Okay. So, 13 now becomes clear. Boundary for cricket team. Well, a cricket team is a side, isn't it? And the boundary is the side of something. So that's double definition. So just these two. Now, I thought that might be presenting, although I'm not convinced it is. Let's have a look at if that's an N for presenting. I'm not convinced. Then what's that give us? The witty remarks in breaks. Breaks, snacks. I'm not sure that is presenting, which means I've got to sit and think about it a bit more. Now, I struggle with my down clues to fill in the gaps mentally, and sometimes I find if I put it that way, I can look at it and think a bit easier. Keeping, presenting, holding back, pray. The trouble is sometimes once you've got an idea in your head, you're stuck on that idea. Pressing, old anagrams in there coming up. Pressing and prossing. Those seem like they really want to be. So the pre-s feels like the one most likely to be in there. Press. I mean, there's no guarantee it begins with P for quiet, but I think that's right because holding is an ing word, so holding back suggests it needs a word there for holding back after the P to get to a word for keeping. Keeping quiet could be a complicated charade where that needs to be. Let's come into that and put an SH there. Keep quiet in a word for holding, which not sure. So these two witty remarks are in breaks. Remarks in breaks. Breaks are snaps. Cracks. Yeah, cracks. There we are. Witty remarks. He cracked a joke. Cracks, which makes that. What is it? Preserving. There we are. Keeping back is reserving, isn't it? There we go. I think that's all done. Let's check. Confirm check. Tick, 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 tick. All tick. So there we go. That was it. You see I had a little struggle there on those last two, but yeah, that was I think that will be a slight challenge for the beginners out there. There's a lot of good stuff here. Think of a place like Dwells. I think the wording of the clues is very clear, as you always get with Pasquale. Just whether you know all the different abbreviations and can think of words there. I mean, it's very hard with puzzles where you don't get the starter letter, so the I, C and A, whereas on this down clue, Padre and Raced, we got the, by getting one across, we at least got those two down letters, but we didn't know what the S was there. We didn't know the A for aged, but it was simply, that was an easy clue, wasn't it? A good editor. So there we go. That's my little talk through for the Guardian Quick Cryptic today. Thank you for watching.